How's it going, everyone? I'm Zfiles, and today I'm going to be comparing the Razortooth from Atlas with the Yutyrannus from Ark in another episode of Creature Comparison. We'll be comparing them in health, which will have 2 tests, damage with 3 tests, ability with 4 tests, service with 3 tests, perks which will have 4 tests, and then we'll have 4 different battles at the end. The Razortooth stats will be a lot different from how it is in Atlas, since this Razortooth is from the mod Shad's Atlas Imports. If you want to check that out, there'll be a link in the description. So the first thing we'll be comparing is the health. So in health there's 2 tests. The first test is how much health they have. The Razortooth has 835 health at level 1, and the Yutyrannus has 1100 health at level 1. So the Yutyrannus has 265 more health than the Razortooth. Next we have resistance, so this is any armor the creature has, including saddles. So the Razortooth has the Razortooth saddle, which is learnt at level 85 and costs 350 fiber, 425 hide, 135 metal ingots, and 125 silica pearls. And the Yutyrannus saddle is learnt at level 80 and costs all the same materials as the Razortooth saddle. Only difference is you can learn the Yutyrannus saddle 5 levels before you can learn the Razortooths. Next we have damage, which has 3 tests. So there's attacks, DPA, which is damage per attack, and then the attack speed. So the first thing is the attacks. Razortooth has his primary attack, which is just the bite, that does 101 damage and it's pretty slow. And its second attack is the bleeding attack. So this attack does 140 damage, and it has a huge cooldown, but it applies the bleeding effect, which makes the creature lose a percentage of its health. The Razortooth and the Yutyrannus also have their raw attacks in the abilities test in service. Now we have the Yutyrannus. So the Yutyrannus only has its primary attack that does damage, so it does 96 damage and it attacks pretty slow. It's probably the same speed as the Razortooth. Now we have mobility. So this one has 4 tests. The first 2 tests we'll do at the same time. So this is speed and stamina. So speed is just how fast it can do 1 lap, and the lap is 40 foundations. And then for stamina, we'll see how many laps it can do before running out of stamina. So right now I'm just running around with the Razortooth, and you'll have seen how fast it did 1 lap just now. He's almost out of stamina now, and he's just got his 3rd lap in. The Razortooth is about to run out of stamina, so he just got past 3.5 laps. So now I have the Yutyrannus. So both of these creatures are really fast, but the Razortooth is a bit faster than the Yutyrannus, even though the Yutyrannus is super fast as well. So the Yutyrannus did 1 lap in 7.096 seconds, and it already ran out of stamina, and it couldn't even make 1.5 laps. So the Razortooth is faster and has more stamina than the Yutyrannus. Now we have turning. So the Razortooth isn't that bad, but it's not that good either. And the Yutyrannus is also pretty similar. They look pretty much the same, but I'd say the Razortooth is better because he is faster, he has more movement speed, so that makes him able to turn faster as well. Now we have swimming. So this is how fast the creature can do 1 lap. So first we'll have the Razortooth. Razortooth is pretty slow, and it probably has like the same swimming speed as the Yutyrannus, so the Razortooth did in that amount of time. Now we have the Yutyrannus for swimming. So far he looks pretty slow, but still similar to the Razortooth. He swims kinda like more of a chicken because of all of his feathers and everything. So he did it in 9.462 seconds, and the Razortooth was 0.66 seconds faster. Next up we have service. So this has 3 tests, and the first test is abilities. So this is what abilities the creatures have. So first for the Razortooth, it can do the Fear Roar. The Yutyrannus also has this, except for the Razortooth. It has a longer cooldown and also uses up more stamina. That means the Yutyrannus is better for using the roars than the Razortooth. The next abilities is the Courage Roar. So both of these creatures also have this. And same for the Fear Roar. The Yutyrannus is better at using it, because the Yutyrannus uses up less stamina. It also has a shorter cooldown than the Razortooth. The second test that's in service is utility. This is what and how well they gather stuff. So both of them are carnivores, so they only really gather dead bodies and stuff. The last test in service is weight. So the Razortooth has 480 weight, and the Yutyrannus has 500 weight. So the Yutyrannus has a bit more weight than the Razortooth does. Next we have perks. The first test in this is buffs, and this is if the creatures can be like bred and lay eggs and stuff. So both of these creatures can be bred, they both lay eggs, they can both be imprinted when you raise them from a baby, and they can both be mate boosted. Next we have taming. This is how hard it is to tame them. The Razortooth has 2400 torpor, and the Yutyrannus has 1550 torpor. And the Razortooth is also faster, which would make him harder to tame, except the Yutyrannus has Carno bodyguards. So I'd say it's pretty even since one has bodyguards and the other has more torpor and more speed. Next we have the location. If the location is easy, then it'll make the tame a bit easier as well. The Razortooth spawns in the jungles, which is a lot safer compared to the snow where the Yutyrannus spawns, because in the snow you'll need fur armor, and there's also lots of aggressive creatures in the snow, like Argies, Sabers, Wolves, Carnos, Rexes, and other UDs. The last test we have before we get to battles is appearance. So this is the size and looks. It would affect the creature if they're like different sizes, but these two are basically the same size. Maybe the Yutyrannus is a bit bigger because of all of the feathers, but they're still like basically the same. So it's just really based off opinion of how they look. In my opinion, I prefer the Yutyrannus, but the Razortooth suits Atlas a lot more. Now for the last comparison we have is the battles. So the first battle we'll have is with their tamed stats. Then the second one is tamed stats and they have saddles on, so they'll have some armor. And then we'll have them with wild stats, so if they're like in the wild. And then we'll have a 4v4 at the end. So this is the first battle, when they're both level 1 tamed stats. So it's gonna be like a close match, because the Yutyrannus has more health. Not too much, but a little bit more health. And the Razortooth does a lot more damage, and especially with his bleeding attack, that's really good as well. Although Yutyrannus won actually. So the Yutyrannus won with tame stats at level 1. Now we have tame stats and saddles, so this will help them have a little bit more armor. And apparently the Razortooth can like penetrate armor, so he has an advantage in this fight. I'm not sure he will win yet. Does also have the bleed effect, which probably doesn't get affected by the saddles, since it does a percentage of damage. Oh, and the Razortooth won. So the Razortooth, when they're both saddled up, he's also a better fighter, because he can penetrate armor, especially with his bleeding effect as well, and he still has quite a lot of health. Now we have the wild battle, so this is with both of them. They have wild stats now, so I did that by using a special command. So the Yutyrannus got like a free hit just then, because the Razortooth was slacking off, and they are both doing a lot less damage than usual. It's like less than half, but the Razortooth's bleeding attack still does a lot of damage, but still like a lot less than when it's tamed. So I think the Razortooth will win this one, because that 80 damage he gets with the bleeding effect is quite a lot. And yeah, the Razortooth won. How much health does he have? Oh, he's like one hit away from death. So when they're wild, in the wild, it's a pretty close match. Lastly, we have the 4v4, and the Yutyrannus has won 1 battle, the Razortooth has won 2. So if the Yutyrannus wins this, then it's like a draw. So now we'll just see who wins. Oh, the Yutyrannus has already died. Well, there's one left. Okay, he just died as well. So the Razortooths are much better for fighting, because they do a lot more melee damage, and also with their bleeding attack. In the end, the Yutyrannus won in health and service, so it's more tanky and also has better abilities. And the Razortooth won in everything else, so that's damage, mobility, perks, and battle. The Yutyrannus is better for tanking hits and boosting allies, because its Courage Roar and Fear Roar are better than the Razortooth's ones. And the Razortooth is more of a fighter since it's faster, and it also has its bleeding attack, and also does more damage with its normal attack as well. So if you guys enjoyed this video, subscribing and liking helps me out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.